Hello and welcome to this Luwizart tutorial. Um, let's wind that Luwizart series because this is a series where I'll be explaining Blender modifier, specifically the Blender Deform modifier. If you don't understand what I mean, Deform modifier is just basically the modifiers in Blender that affect the shape of objects dynamically. So let's start up with the first one for today, which will be the cast modifier. I'm skipping over the amateur because I want this to be like the final ones where we will explain everything. So the cast modifier is I'm starting with it because it's very interesting and fun to play with. So if you want to get it, make sure you're selecting the object and go to the deform under the deform tab and select cast. So one thing before you set up for this cast modifier, make sure you are dealing with a mesh that have enough vertices to play with, and if you have that, you're good to go. So what's the cast modifier UI or interface is very easy. You have the apply that after you finish creating the basic deformation, you can apply it. You could also apply it as a shape key and copy it to another model, something like that. So let's start up and let's see how it works. So I'm putting back a cursor in the center, and let's add an icosphere. um, let's make it transparent, and how to do that, go to this object panel and under the display choose transparent x-ray. It makes it x-ray so you can see it any position interesting. So if I select the icosphere and go back to the modifier tab, for this control object, that's where I'll be selecting the icosphere. And so now if I move the icosphere, it starts deforming in a perfect way. So we are also given the power to control the way it affects the object. So we can change this to 0.2 to reduce the factor it affects, and you can increase it to 1, which is I don't think anybody will use it. uh, yeah, but it may be helpful, I don't know. So let's just leave it at zero point 0.3, I think is good, or 0.36. You could also affect the radius, the size, and also influence the axis is going to affect. You could make it to just affect the x-axis or make it to affect just the y. So let's leave it as default and let's affect x, y, and z. Another the most important part is, you can also set vertex group for it, which is definitely you're going to use maybe when you're rigging a character, maybe a fluffy character which you need some jiggles. This could be a very good, nice helping hand. Uh, so let's say we want to create a vertex group, which is required in this space here. So to do that, you have to go into your object panel, which you find by this triangle, and click down the vertex group and add one, and go into your edit mode. What we want to get is a situation whereby I want to be able to move this direction. Do that again. I want to be able to move this direction, so kind of just this place. So if I select this and go into the edit mode and use my box select to just select part of there and reduce the selection a bit. If I set iSign, and we go into the vertex paint, which you can get by weight paint, okay, and if I press my T to bring up my tool, I want to go and select the blur brush. What this enables me to do is by holding down F, I can scale it up and scale it down and just paint and smooth out the edges to be able to deform organically. Let it don't be so sharp. That's very organic transmission between the parts that are not moving and those that are moving. So the part that is red is 100%, but the blue part is not, has no effect. This kind of blue green, I don't know, it's kind of normal. Okay, I think we're good now. What we want to do next is select the sphere and go back to the modifier and apply the group. So once you've done that, you can now go and control that specific portion, which works perfectly. You can reduce the amount or you can increase the amount. Point 0.1 depending on what you want. 0.5. Another interesting thing is you can change it from sphere to cylinder to cube. I don't know who will use this, but okay. So the most interesting one for earphone is the sphere, so you can use it to do anything you want. So thanks for watching this tutorial. I hope it helps you in your project to come or your present one. Stay tuned for the next series. Bye.